Well, I finally did it. I finally got a Blackmagic camera. And what better one to start with than the new Blackmagic 6K Pro. This is actually the first camera that I've ever pre-ordered. Definitely like the swivel screen. It's very, very handy. Built-in NDs. I was about to buy a Pocket 6K, like full rig setup. I had everything in my cart, ready to go, was about to pull the trigger, and then the next day they announced the 6K Pro, and it kind of made me rethink everything, just based on the upgrades. I do plan actually to rig this thing out. I've always wanted a big camera rig that I can use for a variety of different things, but I also plan to shoot it a lot stripped down like this. I know a lot of people are basically keeping theirs just like this. I'm excited to experiment with raw video, especially 6K, up to 50 frames a second. I'm very excited about that. Now we have, and just like the port selection on this is just so much better than the R6s. Like we got 2 mini XLRs, we got a USB for hard drive recording to external hard drives. It feels really good actually. The grip is pretty substantial actually, and it feels really solid to hold. There's this little kind of winglet here right on the end, and it just kind of hugs your thumb in there. It feels really comfortable to hold. You can also get like a battery grip for this and a viewfinder. I opted not to get either of those because I do plan on rigging this thing out, and I'm gonna put a V-mount on it and a bunch of other stuff. And if I'm just doing quick run and gun stuff, these batteries last I think like 40 minutes to an hour, which is plenty of time for me. I'm never out shooting for much longer than that when I'm gonna have this thing stripped down just shooting for fun. I'll just keep like an extra battery in my pocket or two or in my bag, and I think we should be fine. I just don't want that giant clunky thing on the bottom. It is very handy though. Only interesting thing is the plastic on it. I don't know if, again, I haven't used any other Blackmagic cameras. The plastic, it has a nice texture to it, but it feels a little bit cheap. If you can hear that. It just doesn't have that like kind of like solid feel to it like my R6 does. But the actual rubber feels really comfortable to hold. I really like this. I am so excited to have this camera because that means I finally get to use my Sigma 18-35, which I've had for almost 2 years. And I think I've used it twice. Little bit of backstory. I initially bought this because I planned on shooting a lot of 4K with the Canon EOS R, but I had that 1.7 times crop. So I figured this would be a nice kind of backup because it was like shooting on like a Super 35. I also never really shot 4K because I really liked using 60p, and it only has 60 in 1080. So just having to switch lenses every single time was just kind of frustrating for me. But now I finally have this, and I guarantee you I will be using this lens constantly. I also bought it because I was planning on picking up either a Pocket 4K or Pocket 6K over the last like 2 years. This is gonna be more of a first impressions and kind of learning the camera kind of videos. This won't be a full review of the Pocket 6K Pro, but enough talking. Why don't we get this thing out and see what it's capable of? Let's go. All right, so we're out here with the Pocket 6K Pro, and we're gonna put it through its paces. We've already shot a few clips with it. So far looking good, although there is a major blue tint on the rear screen. So hopefully they don't actually look like that in post, but we'll see. So currently filming in 6K 24 with 12:1 compression on Blackmagic RAW. I wanna film at a higher compression, but I'm afraid my 256 gigabyte card is gonna fill up in like 10 seconds. So we're sticking with 12:1 for now. We did 8:1 earlier. Probably not gonna notice a difference. We're not doing any crazy action. Let's go. Pelicans.
Having a flipping screen, you don't know how good it is until you don't have it. It's so handy. Switch to 4K. You should take off too, buddy. You should go fly away so I can capture it in 4K. Oh, there goes his head. What are you doing there? This one's got a broken neck. I'm gonna do my best to kind of show what the tint on the screen looks like compared to what the final footage looks like, because I've heard from a few other people that it doesn't actually affect the footage, and if you're shooting in RAW anyway, the white balance is very easily changeable. Just drag a little slider. So we'll see. Hopefully doesn't affect the image too much. There are mosquitoes everywhere. I gotta say, having 13 stops of dynamic range in false color is making it so much better to like expose the footage. Like I just keep pushing it, and the only spot that's red, which is clipping, is like right where the sun is, which is kind of mind-blowing, because if you point this R6 anywhere towards the sky, it's usually clipping. It's pretty good, but it usually clips like pretty quickly because it only has like 11 stops. So didn't think that the jump to 13 was going to be that big of a jump, but pleasantly surprised. Helicopters are good for audio, aren't they? One thing, which probably is just something that I need to get used to, is I wish the focus peaking was a little faster to pick up what's in focus, because I just keep going past it slightly. You'll get in focus and then it'll turn red. Whereas I wish it would show like what's becoming in focus, like a little more snappy, I guess. But other than that, pretty cool. Florida. Something new with this camera is we finally have built-in NDs, and this is my first camera that I've ever had that actually had like actual built-in NDs. I use the variable ND adapter for my R6 with the EF glass, so it's kind of like having built-in ND, but not really. And like, so this is my first one with actual built-in NDs, and it's so nice. I just change my aperture, and then I add or take away ND filters to get the proper exposure, and it's so quick to change exposure. Like, so far I'm loving using this thing.
So there you go. Those are my first impressions on the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K Pro. Man, that's a mouthful. If some of the clips looked a little off, like the color grade was weird, go easy on me. I'm still learning how to expose and edit this footage. But yeah, if you liked this video, please consider liking and subscribing. It greatly helps me out and it's much appreciated. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or ideas for future videos, leave them down in the comments. I would love to hear them. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one.